and welcome Inside the Void with me, Spacey Ghost, or Dimitri, doesn't really matter. This is a podcast about pretty much whatever. It's the void. Anything belongs there. And today, oh boy, I made a huge mistake. So, this is my thought process going into this. This is the Voltron episode, because I always have a Voltron episode whenever a new season comes out, because it's like one of my favorite shows right now, and god damn it, there's a train. Hold on. Okay, they're still rumbling, but we're gonna go with it. There's no more sirens. Okay, so my thought process with Voltron. So, you guys know how with Season 3 and Season 4, they decided to split it up, because they were originally one season, and they decided to make it 2 seasons, because reasons? I don't know. I don't remember. Can you tell I'm massively unprepared for this? Well, anyways, I thought the same thing was gonna happen with 5 and 6. Like, oh, not much happened in 5, and 6 is just gonna be like the last half of 5, technically. Going by the same logic that, oh, they're just splitting up one season into 2 halves. So why not just wait and talk about 5 and 6 together? No big deal. And then season 6 happened. And oh my god, season 6, guys. I recommend Voltron to like anyone, because Voltron is one of those special series where anyone can watch it. Like old Voltron fans, new Voltron fans, little kids as young as like 4 probably, up to like I have a friend, shout out to you, Noah. He started rewatching Voltron with his grandma, and she actually is enjoying herself, at least from what I heard from him. So yeah, any age, any gender, any whatever, anyone can find some reason to enjoy this show. But for some reason, especially with season 6, you have to watch Voltron if you haven't already. I don't know why you're listening to this episode, since we're like gonna be talking about later seasons. Like, if you haven't seen it, go watch the first episode of season 1. Like I always say, my philosophy is binge the first 3 seasons. Yes, totally. Binge the first 3 episodes of a thing, and if you don't like it after episode 3, or maybe even 4 at the most, then just whatever, that's your own thing, that's your deal. Unless it's one of those things where it's like, oh, big reveal at the end. But that's an exception. And what they did with season 1 is that for the first episode, they just smushed the first 3, technically, into one big, like, movie-length episode. So it's, like, perfect. It's already set and ready to go. Just push play, not even have to worry about, like, switching episodes. It's there. I can't recommend it enough. So I mentioned being massively unprepared for this, because I'm still in the middle of unpacking. I recently moved to our now permanent space. The recording setup is better. Like, we actually have some kind of noise canceling audio thing on the walls. Not like the fancy checkerboard stuff you see like other YouTubers have. But like, our computer's running, we have the internet. It's not gonna block out everything, but we're still working on it. Because I'm also preparing for my big anime season episode, and I got like a whole list, like a full sheet of paper of anime to watch that I didn't get a chance to when we had no internet. So usually what I do is I watch Voltron by itself, and then I go to a friend's house and we have like a viewing party and we watch it together. And then I do a third viewing of Voltron, where it's me sitting down, taking notes, taking my time, thinking of what to say, what dots to connect. But again, because of moving and stuff, and also I got a shit ton of anime to watch, I decided, hey, you know, it's best not to rewatch 2 whole seasons to take notes. So what I got here is I got Wikipedia up, and we're just gonna try our best. I do have season 6 kind of more in my memory, cause like 5 came out like what, March, I think? So I'm gonna try my best and do like a kind of mini spoiler-free review of the 2. Season 5, it was very much like 3 and 4. Like, there wasn't much to them, which sounds insulting, but it's not, because they're shorter. You can't really fit all that much in it. An easy way to explain seasons 3 through 5 is that it's like, they're like the calm before the storm. All the serious shit happened, and now this is the lull where we're recovering from it, taking some baby steps. Little things are happening here or there, and they come to fruition in 6. Especially season 5, like, certain things come into motion that just impact you hard in 6. Especially with Lotor, being able to see him up close and through the Paladin's eyes, seeing how he interacts around people that aren't just his posse of lesbians or anything. And I'm not sure if this is spoiler territory or not, but I'm just gonna assume it's not. I apologize if it is. But seeing Lotor and Alora interact was really interesting because Alora's Altean. She's the only one of her kind besides, like, Karan, but Karan's, like, her weird uncle. So seeing someone that's, like, around her age, who's part Altean, who knows things, has been awake for the past 10,000 years that we know of, that may be just a little bit of me throwing in a headcanon, but, like, I feel like if he was asleep for 10,000 years, he would have mentioned it. Season 6, though, ooh. Season 6, they held nothing back. It was so brutal. It was brutal on my soul. I was not prepared for it. I was just like, oh yeah, Voltron, new season. Let's turn it on. I was watching it while my roommates were also recording videos for their YouTube channel, and I was just sitting there, and they looked over and they were like, oh, Dimitri, are you okay? And I just, like, slowly shake my head no. Like, I'm sobbing in my heart, in my soul. All these shorter seasons were definitely worth the wait for season 6, and because of what happens in 6, I'm even more terrified of season 7, which we're gonna talk about in a little bit. Season 6 has my now favorite episode of Voltron. I'm not sure if it's better than Space Mall, but it is definitely up there. I feel like some of their best work, like animation, music, story-wise, it is all in this current season as of recording this. And how they handled the characterization of both Keith's growth through these seasons, and also seeing what happens with Lotor, and keeping this spoiler free for now. It's just been really compelling to watch, and I still can't believe it's only been like 2 years since season 1. Man, like, I don't want their show to end. I heard rumors that it's ending with season 8, but honestly, while it feels like everything is coming to a head in 7, I can see this continuing further. I'm not saying that it was a mistake to kind of, like, squish everything in, because I think they had, like, 3 seasons come out just, like, last year alone. Like, I don't think that was a mistake. I think that was a perfect move on their part, because it's keeping people hyped. It's keeping the series relevant. It's, not waiting, like, 5 years when everyone's, like, said and done about it to be like, oh, here's season 2. Slight shade at Attack on Titan. Obviously, they can't keep doing it at this pace forever, but definitely, they can definitely keep going. Then again, as I'm saying this, do we really want it to keep going? Because usually with shows that just keep going on and on and on, like, let's say Naruto, or like, insert other long-running series here, they usually end up burning themselves to the ground and not being good anymore. But I trust the people behind Voltron. I trust the crew. Wee woo! Spoilers! So let's get into the spoilers, shall we? Season 5. Again, instead of taking notes, I just have the Wikipedia article here to refresh myself. So, Lotor is, like, in the Paladins. They kind of, sort of, have him as an ally in this season, because Lotor, he's just like, oh, I'm not like my father. I'm a good person. I just want what's right for the Alteans. And I like the approach they have at first. The Paladins are just like, we don't trust you, but we're totally gonna use you against your father. Cause, later on they find out that not only is Sam Holt alive, which I'm surprised, he's an old man. He's well, maybe not that old, but still, he seems older than, like, a typical family unit, I guess? I don't know. Like, he doesn't look 40. He looks like he could be, like, in his late 50s, maybe? Early 60s? Like, yeah, going up in space and collecting samples, that's good. Being captured and tortured and used for science and whatever else Zarkon may have done to him. I'm surprised he's even alive. So the Paladins are like, hey, let's switch. You get your son back, your awful, awful son, and we'll get the dad back, the other space dad. And when they go to exchange Captain Holt, oh no, it turns out Zarkon betrayed him. It was just a hologram. They weren't actually gonna trade. Like, that's the one moment in season 5 where I'm like, are you guys stupid? This is fucking Zarkon, the emperor of the Galra. He's not just gonna hand you over the guy for Lotor. We all know he hates Lotor's guts. I don't know what animosity they have. Maybe just with all the hyperactive quintessence in Zarkon, it's supercharged his Galra nature. So he's just like, fuck Alteans, even my own son, even though I raised him to be just as brutal and ruthless as me. Fuck off, you're not full Galra. I forget exactly why. Hold on. From what I remember, I think it just happens out of nowhere. Just like, they're in the same space, there's this big empty field, Lotor's just like, okay, fuck you, Dad, and they have a battle to the death, to the literal death. Something I thought I wouldn't see in a children's cartoon. I seriously have to remind myself watching this series, like, hey, this is a children's cartoon with as much dark shit that happens in it. And Lotor actually wins. Even though it's obvious Lotor is a bigger part of the picture, especially from those who know about, like, the 84 season series. Still, like, I was thinking, like, oh, Zarkon's gonna kill his own son right here, right now. Bye, Lotor. Have fun in, space heaven. But no, Lotor literally kills his own father. With the Black Bayard, which, who let him have the Black Bayard? Why does he have it? Who thought that would be a good idea? Even if they were like, oh, we're watching you, Lotor. He could easily just defeat them with the Black Bayard in his hands and just double-cross them like that. I'm gonna get into that more in a second. Just laying it out there. The weapon he uses to kill his own father is the same Bayard that used to be Zarkon's. The poetic justice. Is it justice? I don't know words. Dramatic irony? I live for that sort of thing. And honestly, I believe Zarkon should have died, like, forever ago in the series. Like, maybe not at the end of season 2, but somewhere along season 3. Just the way they kept going with him, like, oh, now I have this big suit life support system. It's like, dude, stop trying. You're clearly defeated. You're pretty much nothing but a shell of what you used to be. I know you want power and everything, but, like, come on, dude. Come on, dude. Just step down. Just give Lotor your empire. Stop being all pissy just because he's part Altean. It almost felt beating a dead horse, like how long he survived after that serious attack. But now that Zarkon's gone, we have, like, all these new Galra people that apparently were, like, the steps beneath Zarkon. All these important people within the Galra ranks. And Lotor has to fight each and every one of them, because apparently they have a battle royale system to figure out who's gonna be emperor. No voting, no nothing, just beat the shit out of each other, and whoever lives gets to be in charge. And when Lotor is explaining this plan to everyone, only Shiro seems to be on board. And just now, everyone's starting to think, like, Shiro's not himself. And guess what happens? The Kralzera, that's what this event is called, happens. They fight, and then Lotor shows up with the Black Lion and Shiro in tow. Just Shiro. Like, I don't know, I don't remember if they address it at all in the series or, like, in that episode or whatever, but something tells me, even though the rest of the Palins weren't okay with it, Shiro, or Kuran, however you want to call him, because it's obvious, like we said in the last one, or I think it was the last one, around season 3, like, oh yeah, this Shiro's definitely not the same Shiro, it's definitely a clone. But anyways, Shiro's not one to just say, like, oh, fuck the team, I'm gonna do my own thing. No, like, if the whole team's not okay with it, he's gonna seriously consider that and be like, okay, let's look at different options. He's not just gonna drop Lotor off like, oh, your Uber's here. Here you go, babe. Because he has the fucking Black Lion, and the Black Bayard, and Shiro. He just slaughters everything, becomes the new emperor of the Gaura, and starts integrating the Paladins in with, like, the Gaura tech and everything. You feel like at least someone as smart as Pidge would be like, hey, this is a bad idea. What if they're double-crossing us? Or are about to be? What if they infect our shit with their Gaura tech? But no, they're like, oh, cool, let's sync everything up. I get where they're like, oh, we need all this information. Can you please give it to us? I feel like you could do that easily without having to, like, plug the castle into the mainframe of the Gaura base or whatever. But no, everything's cool with it because Shiro's cool with it. A lot of the season 5, can be summed up with Kuran. I'm just gonna call him Kuran from now on. Because he doesn't know it, but because he's a spy for Hanerva, for the Gaura and everything, he's just gonna go with whatever Lotor's gonna go with. Or whatever would benefit from the Gaura, whether it be for good or worse for the Paladins. The main thing that the Gaura want are the lions, so she was just like, oh, well, here you go, here are the lions. Oh, you want my Bayard? Here you go. You can totally use it to your advantage whenever you want. And the other Paladins, they're like, well, Shiro's our leader. We can't say no to Shiro. So they just go with it, trusting his state of being, even though it's not their leader. Another thing about Lotor is that, yes, he seems very cool. He seems pretty composed. He seems really like he knows what he's doing. He seriously just wants to help the Paladins. But if you pay attention to his dialogue specifically, listen to what he says to certain people. It seems to be that he's not lying. He's not being dishonest. But he is not necessarily fudging the truth, but he is saying words in certain ways to where he seems like a nice guy. He seems like he's on their side. But like with the fight with the Kralzera, from what I remember, he says nothing about like being good. He says nothing about like, oh hey, we need to stop our ways. He says nothing like that. He's just like, yo, what up? I have the lions, so you have to bow to me. Literally everything in this season comes to Lotor's favor. He gets everything he wants in this season, and no one's concerned about it. Everyone's okay with it. Everyone's chill. Like, in the beginning, he was a prisoner. He was locked up, kept staring him down, not trusting him, and then at the end of the season, he's on a fucking throne. The lions are in Gaura territory. He has pretty much everything besides like his father's love and affection, but he just took care of that himself. He's good. He's Gucci fam. A couple other things before I go on to season 6 that happened that are important is that we meet Keith's mom. And she's badass and wonderful and exactly how I expect his mom to be like. Like, you can tell he gets a lot of his nature from her. I am surprised, though, with how young she looks. This might be just, like, Gaura nature. just in general. When I was watching this season, like, at the viewing party we were having with my friends, I think one, if not all of them, like, if anything, assumed she would be, like, his long-lost sister or something, and not his own mother, which I still have a theory that Aksha is related to him in some way, some form, but that's just me. But yeah, it was nice seeing them, like, go on a mission together, and seeing that reveal, like, comparing her form of fighting to, like, his. And we are introduced to two other Galra commanders underneath Zarkon that could have some meaning in the future, even though they died in this episode. I'm sure they have subordinates. I'm sure whatever creature that Keith and Corolla, his mom, were, like, trying to get to, like, I'm sure that would come up in the future, because there's no way they're gonna just, like, throw away that mystery creature just as some one-off random Blade of Marmara mission. Another thing I want to talk about is little hints that Lotor isn't as cool and calm and collected as he shows to, like, the rest of everyone. As with the last episode of The White Lion, you see a lot of Lotor and Allura interacting. By all intents and purposes, he wants to revive the Altean race. He wants to help Allura awaken her deep-seated Altean nature. Is that the word I want? Deep-seated? The power she has hidden deep inside her. Because he can't, because he's part Galra, and he unfortunately, or fortunately, which way you put it, because of his Galra nature, he can't. So his mission, his mini-mission, is to help Allura in his steed. And together, they find a place where there's all this raw Altean magic. And for some reason, only Lotor and Allura are, like, the chosen ones to go in there and receive this magic. And when they get there, they're introduced to this white lion guardian, which might be the mother of all lions? I'm assuming, it is to be assumed, that that's where all the lions get their quintessence. But they go on this mystical journey. There's this test, and you see Lotor first, and Lotor, like, this white lion guardian attacks him, and he immediately just attacks back, seething rage, because Galra anger. And he's, like, denied access to this magic, but Allura, she takes the nicer path. She takes the good path, and she's honored by this lion guardian. She gets this magic in a most stunning, beautiful animation I've seen in this series. Like, it could be in an anime opening, it could be a desktop server. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous. Go watch a clip of it if you can. Here's my question, though. So yes, Lotor's first instinct with the white lion is to just fucking kill it, annihilate it. On one hand, this could be a sign of him being evil, because this is the one spot where, like, he's not kissing up to the paladins, he's not kissing up to, like, the Galra, he's just completely alone. This is the moment where he shows his true nature. Or is the only reason he does that is because he can't help it. Like with what Keith says in his vlog video, there are times when Keith can't help but be angry or pissed off over certain things. He's worried that it's just his Galra nature coming out, and maybe he has no choice but to have deep-seated rage within him. Maybe that's just what's going on with Lotor in this particular moment. Maybe he wanted to be nice to the lion and accept it and everything, but because his first instinct, that's what happened. And if Lotor really was that bad, then why would he be one of the chosen that the White Lion wants into Oriond? Like, why would he be accepted to Oriond to start with, besides the fact of them being, like, the only two Alteans? Like, if this guardian spirit trusts Lotor enough to give him a chance to send him to Oriond, then maybe there's a lot more to Lotor. Maybe he actually did want the best. I don't know. I feel like that could have been said better, but I feel like you guys get what I mean. I feel like I'm just talking in circles now, and I apologize if I do. So, now we're on to season 6. Oh my god, so much happens. It's finally revealed that Shiro's a clone. It's finally revealed that Quran was a spy for, Hagar this whole time. He loses it, and suddenly everything's about, like, the mission. Do whatever the fuck Lotor wants. And it sucks because, like, none of the paladins were, like, expecting it. Especially Lance. It's especially hard for Lance because in the last season, Lance, he saw glimpses of Shiro not being okay. He saw moments with Shiro being vulnerable, and it's like he could have warned the others if he knew the whole picture, but because he didn't, he feels like it's like partially his fault that this is happening, which it clearly isn't, but you know, Lance, I realize I'm getting ahead of myself, so before I do, I'm just gonna slow down. There's 2 episodes I do want to talk about before we get into the meat of season 6. First, the cool thing, Monsters and Mana. This is one of my new favorite episodes. It's a D&D episode that they decided to do, which it's nice to see them just sitting down, relaxing after all this nonsense, all this hardship. Just sit down and play Dungeons and Dragons with each other. It's so cool, like, to see Shiro, even if it's, like, not Shiro. Like, it's so cool to see Shiro just sit down and joke around and have fun with everyone. He's not on this big pedestal as the leader or whatnot. You see him being a fucking dork. And I love how they kind of also poke fun at, like, the original series. Because there's a moment in the D&D game where Shiro's character is killed off, and they're like, well, Shiro, you gotta re-roll a new character. And he just re-rolls the same class, the same everything. He's just like, oh, I'm Takashi's twin brother. I am also a paladin of Voltron. The other episode I want to talk about is Razor's Edge, I believe. It's the episode before Monsters and Mana. It is where you see Corolla and Keith bond together, and it's really well done how they did this. Because essentially it's a flashback episode where you see glimpses of Corolla's past, you see how she got sent to Earth, you see her relationship with Keith's father, you see little baby Keith, glimpses of Keith's past with, like, him at the garrison. Also, we find out that, unfortunately, sometime after Corolla got sent back to space, his father died. Who knows why, but it's still, like, really sad to find out. Because we all know that the Paladins are being sent back to Earth, like, in season 7. Well, sent back's not the word. They're going there of their own volition. I was really hoping we get a chance to see his father. I don't remember if I said this in a podcast or just aside to one of my friends. When we were talking about, like, why we didn't see the father in the first episode when, like, all the Paladins go to Keith's shack, I was just like, oh, what if his father was just out for groceries or something, or at work? What if that's the whole reason why we can't see him? What if he's secretly okay? But no. But it's a really nice way how they handled, like, a typical flashback episode. It felt really natural to the narrative, and plus, as fans, we were dying, like, how did Corolla and Texas get together? How was Keith born? Keith! Small Keith! How were you when you were in the garrison? Also, this is the episode where Keith gets a cosmic space wolf that can teleport, which is, like, everything to me. Like, he looks like a fucking Pokemon. Like, all fluffy and gorgeous. And also, this whole episode takes place in a span of 2 years. Which, again, feels like a cop-out. Because it's like, oh, you just aged Keith 2 years, and now the shippers can't be mad about she either. Whatever. But it's nice, because Keith, he needed that time. He needed that break. He needed... So much was happening, being forced to be the Black Paladin, being forced to go into space anyways, finding out he's part alien. He needed some time to relax, be with his mother, be with his biological family, have a nice emotional support animal next to him to take care of, not have to worry too much about attacks or Gaura this and Quintessence that. So when he comes back from the 2-year space-time span, when really it was only like maybe a month or so according to Paladin time, he's much more mature now. He's much more in tone with his emotions. In tone, I meant in tune with his emotions. You kind of see him as truly the leader that Shiro always thought he could be. No more like, oh, I don't want to be the Black Paladin. No, now when he shows back up to the Castle of Lions, he's like, okay, this is what needs to be done, let's do it. And since Shiro's off being a little bitch, I guess there's no other choice. Oh, and another important thing that you find out with, like, that whole episode with Keith, you find out that Lotor actually snuck some Alteans away from Zarakon's eyes, away from possibly even Hanerva's eyes. There's a secret colony of Alteans that have just been living and thriving all these years. You think at first, like, oh, see, he's a nice guy after all. He just wants to preserve everything. And then you find out that pretty much the only reason he did that was just so they could worship him like some sort of, like, savior. And also he was stealing and killing off them? I don't know. Was he killing off the Alteans? I know he was stealing their quintessence. For whatever reason. And they have a witness to prove all that. New character Ramel, who I believe in the original series was actually like Alora's sister or cousin or something. But here she's just one of the Alteans that survived and came back with Keith with all this evidence, which is the turning point to Lotor just being like, okay, screw it, I'm just gonna be like my true nature. And Shiro takes off on his side because he's controlled by Hanerva. Which apparently, even though Hanerva doesn't like Lotor, I don't know about Hanerva. I don't remember if it was mentioned in the show or like aside at a panel, but I know it was mentioned that Hanerva just wants the best for Lotor. Like, her goal is a positive for Lotor. She also seems kind of shitty towards him. So, like, I don't know what her plans are. And the reason why I keep calling her Hanerva now instead of Hagar is that all throughout the past seasons we've seen little bits and pieces of Hagar, like remembering things from her past and kind of recovering to her true self. And I think it's definitely official now, especially at the end of season 6. Like, now she's no longer Hagar, she remembers everything. For some reason, we see her in Orient. I think at the end of 5. They don't explain that at all yet. They're just like, oh, she's there. Even though only the Chosen could get there. And if she's the Chosen, why, White Lion Guardian, why? Why do you keep picking such evil people to be your Chosen? I hope they explain that at some point. And not only do both Shiro and Lotor turn on the whole Paladins, but suddenly the castle is under attack from the inside, from its very core. Because, surprise, surprise, when they connected the Gaura technology with the castle, there was a secret virus attached. Again, Pidge and or Hunk could have, like, said something about that or theorized something about that, but no. They're too busy having fun with the robot friend. In season 6, we also get a battle between Keith and Shiro, which I was freaking out so hard at that. Regardless how you had canon them, whether you're a hardcore Sheath fan, or if you're all like, oh no, they're brothers, like, it was still heartbreaking to see them having to fight each other. It does say a lot about Keith's character now, because the whole time, well, most of the time, he was very calm, he was very connected. I keep saying connected, collected, just as Shiro has always taught him. Patience yields focus. He actually took that to heart and used it while having to fight against Shiro. And you get to see Keith's determination and loyalty and even love as he's trying to get his, I'm just gonna say, brother back to reality. And the animation in that scene is glorious. Like, applaud whoever did that. Whoever animated that scene. I think that's where it's officially revealed. Like, oh, this Shiro's a clown. And you hear Keith tell Shiro that he loves him, which I think is a very groundbreaking moment, not just in this series, but like in any children's television, because you hardly ever see like two male characters be open with each other with like emotions and stuff like that. Even if it is between like father and son or brother and brother, there's this secret hidden like rule that men can't be affectionate with each other, even if it is like platonic or anything. Like, that's no good, and it sucks. So it made me really happy to see something like this. In the middle of the fight, Keith somehow is in the astral plane with actual Shiro, like actual Shiro, OG Shiro. And what was revealed, I was not expecting. A while ago, in another theory video, I think it was like for season 2, I said some things I was not expecting to actually be true. I'm gonna play a clip right now from the video I recorded, I think it was last year. Here's what I think went down during that fight. Okay, so there was a big old blast, right? Enough to make Zarkon unconscious. But the thing is, now Shiro, he's just human. There's no way he would have survived that blast. So what I think happened was that his body's gone. His body's like completely gone. For all intents and purposes, Shiro is definitely dead. Like, it was just vaporized, arm included, because if not, it would have just stayed in the Black Lion. Shiro's mind left his body.
I died, Keith. But the Black Lion somehow retained my essence.
Like, I remember that being my first thought at the end of season 2. But when 3 happened, and you see, like, Space Jesus appear, even though nothing could have survived that blast, somehow they stole his body. Yeah, no, it made the most sense to hear a kids' TV show be like, oh yeah, I straight up died. That was shocking. Usually they're like, oh, I passed, or I didn't exist. But to straight up say, yeah, I was killed, and that being said, that means up until that moment. Well, I shouldn't say up until that moment. Up until the end of season 6. That means since that huge battle, the Black Lion was Shiro the whole time, and that's why the lion never responded to anyone besides Keith, because he trusted Keith to be the new Black Paladin. In the final episode of season 6, you see they battle Lotor, and Lotor, it's revealed that this whole time, the ships he and Allura were, like, building and figuring out were his own version of Voltron. And you find out that he has a bit of an ego problem and a little bit of a god complex. He even says that, like, he doesn't give a shit about his, like, generals. He just wants all the power to be for him and to be a fucking god for these Alteans. And rightfully so, his generals are just like, fine, screw it, we're part of the Paladins now. The way they deal with Lotor, though, I'm not okay with. They decide to fight him in the quintessence field, the same field that affected his parents and turned them as evil and bad as they are now. They decide to just fucking leave him there. Partially because they can't stay in there themselves or risk being mad with power too. But what does that mean about Lotor? I understand it's for the good of everything, but did they just seriously fuck him over and turn him just as batshit crazy as his father? Is he dead? Is he gonna go even more crazy because, with as bad as the castle is, because the castle is still destroyed. Or about to be destroyed. The castle is still fucked. They don't really have a choice but to leave him there for an indefinite amount of time. So they basically don't even finish the battle. And then because the castle is destroyed, or they have no choice but to destroy the castle because the virus just isn't going away. Through Alora's Altean magic, she transfers Shiro's soul from the Black Lion to the clone body that is unconscious and armless. And they decide that they have no choice but to basically pack all their bags, divide up in the lions, and go to Earth, which apparently Sendak is attacking. I know everything's kind of distracted with Lotor's business and everything, but, like, I wish they knew about Sendak on Earth sooner. Or is the Sendak thing a thing that was in the Season 7 trailer? Because now that I think about it, I think their main reason for going to Earth is because Captain Holt is on Earth, and he actually started making plans for a new castle ship, an even better one. And then in the Season 7 trailer, I'm sorry if this is spoilers, but it was revealed that Sendak and his army, his little off group, is currently attacking Earth, or about to be attacking Earth. So that's the rundown of the seasons. A few questions, though, I have about Season 7. Yes, everyone's hoping for a family reunion, time where we actually see the Paladins' families. We see flashbacks of them when they were, like, younger, before they joined Voltron. And I should point out, before I say anything else, I did not see the first episode. I know they showed it at San Diego Comic-Con, and I think there's like a leak going around the internet. I'm gonna save my watch time for when it officially comes out on August 10th. So if anything was revealed, I don't know about it. It'd be nice to see a family reunion episode with everyone, but at the same time, they've been in space for quite some time. Who knows how long time has passed in space? It's space, and every planet they go to, like, seasons are different. They could have a different year schedule than, like, Earth does. What if much more time has passed on Earth than they realize? What if they go to Earth to see their family and certain members have passed away? Maybe their whole family's just gone to begin with. Plus, since they just disappeared from the garrison without a say or anything, the garrison probably, like, covered up what happened. They're probably like, oh, your sons, they died in a freak accident. It was sad. There's no bones or teeth or anything. It was all just ash. And also, how fucked would that be? Let's say time went as normal as, like, Earth years, Earth time, and they come back and it's just been like, oh, a few months or whatever, or a year. Like, how fucked would it be going a year thinking that your son is, like, died during training or something, to see him showing up with all of his classmates and stuff? On the other hand, with the other theory, with the space-time fluctuation theory, I'm gonna call it, like, throughout the series, we see Lance. I'm gonna use him as a big jumping off point, because it feels like he's having a big arc coming. Like, he's had a little sprinkles here and there, but it's really gonna come to a head with Season 7. But we see him every time he talks about his family. He misses them so much, and I think it's canon that he has, like, a pretty big family compared to the other Paladins. It's gonna be really upsetting for him to finally get a chance to see them, and they're all either dead or forgotten. Or another really depressing thing to think about is, like, oh, what if they show up on Earth and Sendak is already, like, making it a disaster area, already fucking things up. Like, they literally can't have a break with their family. They immediately have to go into battle and everything. I'm honestly really happy that Sendak is the one that's, like, in charge and everything. Like, I was worried they were totally just gonna forget about him. They were just gonna have him float in space for forever. There was a big question of how he survived in space, because if you guys don't remember, he was manipulating Shiro over something. It was back in, like, Season 1, and Shiro, out of a panic, like, ejects his prison pod thing and just lets him be loose in space. I'm really glad they brought back that. I'm wondering how he and Shiro are going to interact. I wonder if there's going to be some callbacks to that moment. How exactly are they going to defeat him now that he's essentially built better than before? He does seem to be, like, Hanerva's favorite. before Shiro became the champion? Also, what is her Nerva gonna do next? Are they gonna reveal what happened to her in Orion? Is she gonna be seriously pissed that they just left Lotor in space where he is? Is she possibly gonna save him? Or figure out a way to make him less crazy, but still just as bad as they are? Or is she just gonna fix him entirely, kinda like what she did with herself, and they're all just royally screwed? How are Lotor's generals gonna integrate themselves with the Paladins? Are they each gonna kinda get their own line to be like a co-pilot of? Because if so, that would be really awesome. Also, what if the Paladins get their family time, but shit happens and they have to keep being Paladins of Voltron because they're the only chosen ones? But what if one of them decides to quit being a Paladin? Kind of mirroring like what happened in season 1 with Pidge. I think it was Pidge, the one that left and was like, no, fuck you, I want to be with my family. Like, even though it's a thing that already happened in the series, I wouldn't be like upset seeing it again with like someone else. Plot twist, what if it was Hunk? Cause out of all the Paladins, we don't really see much like with Hunk. We don't know about his background, we don't know about his family. We see him, other than cooking, just like kind of going along with things. Also, when are we gonna get Hunk and Shay back together? I thought they were gonna be a thing. Can Shay please, can they please make a pit stop before Earth to pick up Shay? So we can introduce her to like his family? Please? Before I end this podcast, let's talk about some endgame ships. Because apparently season 8's gonna be the end. And we're gearing up for that moment. So I feel like Ramel is gonna end up with someone. I have a strong feeling it's gonna be Matt for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because he was like really attracted to Alora when he first saw her. Maybe him and Ramel can have some like bonding time together and fall in love. Wasn't Keith and Alora like a canon thing in the 84 series? Maybe they have Keith and Ramel get together for reasons I'm gonna state in just a few minutes. In 6, they kind of had a love triangle going on between Alora, Lance, and Lotor, which was actually really nice to see. Because, like, when I first saw Voltron, when you first see Lance, like, flirting with Alora, it's like, oh, great, they're gonna get together in the end. Because he's kind of the protagonist, and she's kind of the only chick available. But no, getting to see them grow, getting to see them respect each other, bond as friends, even if he, like, flirts every now and then, it's all, like, joking and stuff. And then the moment in 6 where he's like venting to himself, you can actually hear in his voice, and thank you Jeremy Shada for being like a fantastic voice actor. You could just hear the pining in his voice, how much he actually cares for Alora. Even if he's in love with her, he's not gonna like force her to like be with him, even if he is the better option than, say, Lotor is. I'm excited to see if they're gonna continue down that path, or maybe would Lance and Romel be endgame? Because Romel is an Altan lady, if Lance is into ladies. Maybe he'll be pining for Alora and not realize that the person he loves more actually turns out to be right next to him the whole time. And in that aspect, I can't help but say, maybe Lance would be endgame. Like, I know it's a really popular ship, and I know some people are tired of hearing about it, but really, the bond he has with Keith is pretty tight as well. He's the one who knows how best to, like, deal with Keith, like, when Keith is being overly angsty. And with that, talking about endgame ships, I'm gonna play another clip from my very first one of these types of videos. For those who don't know, my very first, like, theory type video was about, like, season 1. I think it was just season 1. And then, holding the LGBTQ sign is both, Lance and Shiro. Okay, so why those two? Why those two specifically? Like, I don't think they would just throw characters in there because, like, they didn't have any LGBT characters. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, Lance
is bi. Shiro's just there to support him, and I'm like, no, that is that is some bullshit in my opinion. Okay, I'm all for Lance being bi, but why can't Shiro be bi in like canon?
You do not know my surprise of me being on vacation, hanging out with my brother while he like plays God of War and like talks to me about like all the bits and pieces of the series, and like scrolling through Twitter as San Diego Comic-Con is happening, and just suddenly seeing on my Twitter feed like, oh, it's revealed that Shiro has a significant other who not only is a man, but they were married on Earth before like the Kerberos mission. Of all characters to reveal, it's not a minor character. It's not some background character they show for 5 seconds just to be like, oh hey, we have inclusion. No. The main fucking leader of Voltron, the big beefcake himself, likes men. Like, as a bisexual man myself, it really means the world to see that in a children's cartoon. Like, if anything in Voltron, I was totally expecting them to just throw Pidge a girlfriend, an alien girlfriend, which I'm totally down for still. Please, give her an alien girlfriend, or just a human girlfriend. But I was thinking they would just, like, throw that on at the end and just call it that and just end it there. And that's your gaze. And it brings so much more to his character to light, too. His relationship with Pidge, who I'm pretty sure, like, there's no subtext, just text here, that Pidge is a trans woman. Like, his relationship and family type bond with her, like, oh, maybe there's a reason they've bonded that much with each other. And also it opens up possibilities, like, oh, sure, he had a boyfriend, fiance in the past, but if things go south with them, because apparently they broke up because of him going to the Kerberos mission, maybe it opens up avenues, like maybe Matt. Or maybe when they get back to Earth and Adam sees Shiro again, different greatly, but like still the same Shiro he fell in love with, maybe he'll renounce the breakup. Maybe he'll come at him with crying tears and be like, well, I was just full of emotions and not thinking straight at the moment to like actually want to break up. Maybe some other male character will come along that's new and fresh that Shiro will fall in love with. Since the reveal of Adam and everything, I have a new headcanon. Adam and Shiro raised Keith together as kind of a surrogate, like, brother/son. Like, Shiro took him under his wing and, like, had a little family unit like that. Then again, I feel like Keith would have, like, mentioned something about Adam at some point. Maybe, I don't know. Also, since Shiro and Lance may be bi, I'm totally on the mindset of Lance looking up to him as a bisexual icon, and that's why he sees him as a hero. And hopefully they have a one-to-one talk about those types of feelings. Maybe that's who he goes to talk about having feelings about Allura, and Shiro's just like, honey, please. Allura's not the one you're crushing on. I know this. The whole team knows this. Realize your truth. Realize your feelings. This episode is probably gonna be a really long one. I apologize. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I feel like that's all I have to say. Those are all my theories I have so far that I can think of. I really appreciate you guys listening to this podcast, dealing with the long periods of time between episodes. I try my best. I already have, I think, 4 others that I'm planning. I haven't decided when I'm going to record them or not because a lot of them are collabs. Me and the other boys in the house, the Cup of Fun and the Brother Manny, we're going to do one on Steven Universe. Hopefully before the next Steven Bond, if not possibly after. Also, me and the Bart's Kiss are gonna do a collab with Ruby, but we gotta get the Bart's Kiss, like, caught up in Ruby before we can do that. And hopefully that will come out before the newest season of Ruby. And then, as always, there's always my anime review type stuff, which, as I've mentioned earlier, I have like a whole sheet of paper list full of animes that I'm gonna be watching. Cause summer is upon us. Actually, it's almost over because it's August as of probably uploading this. I gotta watch all those, and plus I got another request for a full series review, so that's gonna be fun. And then, obviously, once August 10th hits, I'm totally gonna plan for another Voltron episode for Season 7, and hopefully I don't cry too much. Thank you for watching, or listening. I forget this is a podcast. Please, if you enjoy, subscribe. I like doing this, and I like seeing, like, hey, is this a thing people are into? I enjoy talking about theories and anime and all kinds of stuff like that. If you want to find me outside the podcast, I run a live stream video game channel on YouTube, Spacey Ghost. I'm also on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr. I am blanking out on other social media. I'm pretty sure that's just it. I also have a Ko-fi account I have linked to my SoundCloud page, which is where this is posted on other than iTunes. If you guys like what you're hearing, if you want me to get better, please, that goes towards my channel. I appreciate and love all of your support, and I'll see you sometime in the future. Bye!